Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're having an amazing day, because if you're having an amazing day, I'm having an amazing day, and if I can have an amazing day in this brutal capitalist dictatorship, so can you. Alright, quick video while I'm on break between my sets. Now, I noticed that a lot of people in this country seem to be conflating religion with the Israel and Palestine issue, right? To call it a conflict would be grossly misleading, because it's not a conflict when you have one side basically stamping down on the other side and basically slaughtering thousands and thousands of people in a matter of weeks, right? While the other side is merely holding up, right? So when you have one fortified and protected side. So basically, today's video is basically like to say that, you know, I think it's a mistake when people conflate the Israel and Palestine issue with religion, because many working class Muslims seem to think that this is a Muslim issue, and they say that when my Muslim brothers are being oppressed, I cannot stand silent and watch, right? I have to speak out. And your feelings are understandable, right? But having said that, Palestinians are not just Muslim, because there are also Christian Palestinians, atheist Palestinians, and believe it or not, yes, even Jewish Palestinians, right? Now, the thing is, the working class Muslims seem to be laboring under a delusion, and I say this with the gentlest of intentions and the biggest of respect. But working class Muslims seem to be laboring under this delusion that, you know, this is an Islamic issue, the Muslim world will in unison stand together against the barbaric and tyrannical state of Israel, right? And I agree that the Muslim world should be doing more for Palestine, right? But the thing is, this is not how the bourgeois Muslims think, right? You may think that, yes, the Muslim world will stand together with the Palestinians, right? But the fact of the matter is that this is not a religious matter, because when it concerns class, members of the Muslim bourgeoisie will explicitly or implicitly side with Israel if their class interests are concerned in that regard, right? Because I have seen some of the most deafeningly silent people on Israel and Palestine in this country are not only the westernized liberals, but also members of the bourgeoisie, right? The Muslim bourgeoisie. Like many of my classmates who are Malay Muslims who went to international school and are basically English-speaking members of the white-collar bourgeoisie. Well, they're as silent as a lamb when it concerns Israel and Palestine. Why? Because, my dear friend, their own class interests are concerned in this issue, right? Because they can't be shown to be supporting Israel, but at the same time they can't be shown to be supporting the Palestinians either, because, well, that might affect their trade with certain groups in the Western countries, right? Because see, when you're eating from one hand, you just don't want to bite the hand that feeds you. Does that make sense? Right? So, you know, bourgeois members of the Muslim community are either deafeningly silent on Israel and Palestine, which is their constitutional right, yeah? They don't have to side with Palestine if they don't want to. Or, some of them, you know, those who do talk about Israel and Palestine, well, they take a more milquetoast, both sides approach, basically. Like, oh, you know, basically, yes, there are bad things going on in Palestine, but we have to also see the point of view of the Israelis, right? So, as you can see, the Muslim bourgeoisie in any country in the world does not automatically have solidarity with the Palestinians, just because they are the same religion with the vast majority of them, right? Because no matter what religion you are, right, when money is concerned, the bourgeoisie are all the same religion. In fact, I will go so far as to say that this applies to any class, whether it be the bourgeoisie or the working class. Despite the fact that we come from different cultures, we come from different backgrounds, when religion, when class is concerned, all people are the same religion. Does that make sense, right? So you can expect more sympathy, right, from a Chinese kafir or an Indian kafir than you can from a Malay Muslim member of the bourgeoisie. Because fundamentally, if you're doing business with the West, you don't want to bite the hand that feeds you. Does that make sense? So this also applies to countries. I was talking about it in a microcosmic sense on an individual to individual basis, that not every Muslim has got the Palestinians back, because there are some people whose class interests are better served by Israel, right? But this also applies to countries, basically, right? Like, for example, on camera, countries like Saudi Arabia, as well as Qatar and other rich Arabic countries, may act like they support the Palestinians, because that's supposed to be the politically correct thing to do, right? For the Muslim world to support other Muslims, right? Because according to their religion, basically, well, Muslims have to support other Muslims. That's supposed to be the politically correct thing to do. But in actual fact, these countries have not basically taken in Palestinian refugees. There are still millions of Palestinian refugees languishing in appalling conditions in refugee camps. And these countries are basically saying, it's not our responsibility to take them in. And, I agree on that point, right? I mean, it's the responsibility of the West to let the Palestinians return to their ancestral lands, right? That would be the best outcome, right? Let the Palestinians return home. But I ask you, is it better to be languishing in a refugee camp in Lebanon, or is it better to just temporarily live in Lebanon as a citizen of Lebanon or any other Arab country until the right of return is granted? I think you all know the answer to that question, right? But still, these countries like Saudi Arabia or other Islamic countries, supposedly on paper, still do not want to rub the West the wrong way. They do not want to rub Israel, which is basically a colonial surrogate of the West, the wrong way, you see? So that's why they will still basically offer milquetoast solutions, or basically give lip service to the cause of Palestinian liberation. But ultimately, it will still be members or countries of the global South that stands with Palestine, right? And by extension, it will not be Muslims as a collective who stand with Palestine. And I don't mean to be offensive when I say this, but it will be people of oppressed and marginalized classes, from, African American people from the ghetto to, Chinese and Indian working class people in Malaysia. Yeah, these are more likely to be sympathetic to Palestinian emancipation than anyone from the Muslim bourgeoisie, right? So, yeah, don't blame members of the Muslim bourgeoisie if they are apathetic or don't really care about the about the Palestinian struggle. Don't blame them, because, well, simply put, their class interests go against it, right? At the end, human beings will defend their own class interests over the interests of a shared culture or a shared religion or a shared race even, right? And that's why I've time and again said that racial solidarity is a dangerous, dangerous concept used to gaslight people, because, that means that I should have more solidarity with someone like Vincent Han, a Chinese capitalist, than with a Chinese working class person.
Sorry, I meant Malay working class person.
It's a dangerous concept. Likewise, I also tell my fellow Malaysian Chinese left-wingers that we should be on the side of Palestinian emancipation from imperialist rule, because Palestine is very, very important because it is, no matter what you think about Hamas, right? Whether you like Hamas or not, Palestine is the staging point of the global South's revolution against the imperialist, capitalist ruling class, right? If Palestine can achieve its sovereignty and self-determination from Israel, then other global South countries will also be able to shake the shackles of Western imperialism off, right? It will trigger a domino effect, right? And we will finally be able to shake off the last remnants of British colonial rule if Palestine succeeds in its revolution. That's why it's so important, right? No matter what you think about Hamas, at least in this case, they are still providing the impetus for revolution. And as a result, the Western imperialist powers are a dying power. Basically, they are a dying dragon, right? A toothless tiger, a paper tiger, in fact, that is becoming ever more irrelevant by the day, right? So that's why Palestine is the staging point where everything begins. And that is why the global South is finally rising up in rebellion against the imperialist, capitalist forces. And may Palestine finally be free from the river to the sea.